CBS News commissioned a survey by the Opinion Research Corporation into public attitudes toward homosexuality. We discovered that Americans consider homosexuality more harmful to society than adultery, abortion, or prostitution.
New York City is widely known and associated with the LGBTQ+ rights and liberation movement. Ever since the Stonewall riots of 1969, people in the queer community forged a clear path towards acceptance, which all began in gay spaces such as the Stonewall Inn and other queer bars in New York City. In January of 2020, Gay City News reported that hate crimes against the LGBTQ+ community rose by 20% since 2018, with a total of 54 incidents being reported to the New York Police Department throughout 2019. Former human rights attorney Alexi Minko is the owner of the Alibi Lounge, the first Black-owned gay bar in New York City. The Harlem bar fell victim to burned pride flags twice in 1 month, once right before Pride Month in 2019, and a second time during the city's Pride festivities that June. To make matters worse, hate crimes became all too familiar for Minko right before the pandemic hit in March of 2020.
I had been assaulted inside the walls of Alibi, actually right here, standing right here, on March 11th, and sent to the hospital, where they didn't want to keep me because of this new thing that no one was sure about called COVID-19. So I was sent back home, bruised, broken, battered, injured, emotionally and physically. And it was at the same time, March 16th, boom, shut down. So coping is the word, because, and I was alone. I was totally alone in my apartment. I remember having difficulties to even, get out of bed, like, because of broken, bones and stuff like that. And I had decided at the time, I don't think I told too many people, I really had decided that it was over.
Minko's business suffered such a huge loss in customers during the pandemic that he faced the possibility of having to close down the Alibi forever.
For years, it was the only gay and Black-owned business in Harlem. Now, like so many others, the Alibi Lounge is having a tough time staying afloat.
In fact, it might be forced to close unless it can come up with a pretty good chunk of change in the next couple of weeks.
With the help of a GoFundMe page created by Minko in July of 2020, the Alibi owner explains how his business might make it through this hurdle after all.
At first, I was embarrassed. I'm not gonna lie, I was almost ashamed to now go ask stranger for money. I felt like I had failed. But that GoFundMe hitting a little fire in me, because as people started donating $5, $10, writing comments about what Alibi meant for them, all of a sudden, people were opening up their arms, their wallets, their hearts, and they were telling me that I mattered, that I was seen, and I think that's why we're here today.
The Alibi Lounge is just one example of a New York City venue serving as a safe space as it welcomes its doors to people from all walks of life. For some people, it's just a bar, but to the queer community, it can be so much more. NYU journalism student Sarah touches on how essential queer bars are to the city's LGBTQ+ community and how they felt a sense of normalcy and comfort when visiting Henrietta Hudson, a West Village establishment which calls itself the oldest and most celebrated lesbian bar in New York City.
I used to go to Henrietta every once in a while, back when I was single and still kind of exploring my identity and wanting to meet new people. I think, at least for me, it was really nice because I never really knew a lot of other queer people or a lot of other lesbian or bi women or non-binary people. I think also just being in a space where you see other people that are like you, as cheesy as that is, it's nice to have that kind of right in front of you, especially if that's not something you're used to. I think we're in a weird moment right now where people assume that because gay marriage passed and because whatever Pete Buttigieg ran for president, that it's acceptable to be a gay person or a trans person or whatever. especially in places like New York City or like I'm coming from Chicago. It's not. I think queer spaces in general are necessary just because it's one of those things that it's like as soon as you let your guard down, like these like this kind we could go back to a very homophobic society really quickly. We've seen this like historically a lot. I mean, even like with any movement, it's kind of a pendulum. So like, prior to the AIDS crisis, after Stonewall, like the like LGBT movement was getting some wins, and then the AIDS movement happened, and then it went back to being super homophobic. And we're kind of in the next like uptick of that. But like you never know what's gonna happen. Like there's a lot of times where it's like you need to rely on your community and people who have common experiences as you. Gay bars are also just like a place that's like fun and you can relax as like a young person just looking to meet other people like me, and have fun and feel normal. Like those spaces are really important and they're going to continue to be important.
Derek Danton, co-owner of The Eagle and New York City's premier gay leather bar, explains the importance of making sure that LGBTQ+ spaces like his keep their doors open and remain safe for every customer.
People from all over the world know that they can come there and they can be comfortable. People in our community can come there and just be themselves, whatever that looks like, whatever that means to them. There's no judgment. You're free to express yourself over there. So, not having a space like that available to them, I'm sure everybody's feeling the anxiety, from not being able to go out socially and just hang out and be yourself with your friends, with strangers. And, I get emails all the time from people all over the world. When are you reopening? When are you reopening? And, I wish I could answer them, but I just can't. And I have to tell them that. I said, I just don't know. I understand your anxiety, but there's nothing we can do. And, I think we just created an atmosphere where everybody was welcome. We don't permit any kind of bigotry or abuse or racism or anything like that. We're very, very strong on that. And people know it. We don't stand for any of that in our bar.
Now that businesses are opening up again and restrictions are lifting, the future of gay bars and businesses shows promise as customers find their way back to these prized, safe spaces.
I don't know if it's God or my dead brother. Every night since then has been a good night. It's been a good night in terms of numbers. I don't even think that before the pandemic I've done numbers like that, where Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, consistently people have walked through these doors, whether it's the way we serve our drinks, whether it's the way we welcome our people, the way we keep them safe, the way we just have them around as a safe haven, people wouldn't come back. GoFundMe or not, people wouldn't come back. No, I like to think that they love Alibi because of me, of course. No, it's because because it's everyone needs an alibi. Everyone needs an alibi.
As of April 4th, 2021, Minko was able to close his GoFundMe page with a hopeful farewell, stating, "It is time to officially say goodbye to all of you by closing the GoFundMe page. You all have saved our beloved queer space. You all have saved me. We are queer to stay." This is Elizabeth Vargas Alvarez for NYU Now.